Good evening. I'll call the Tuesday, April 9th Board of Trustees meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Berry.
Here.
Mr. Morris. Here. Mr. Culp.
Here.
Mr. Morris, would you please read the Operation Inherent Resolve and Freedom Sentinel casualties?
Specialist Joseph Collette, Operations Freedom Sentinel, March 22, 2019, 29 years old, of Lancaster, Ohio, assigned to the 242nd Ordnance Battalion, 71st Explosive Ordnance Group, Fort Carson, Colorado. And Sergeant First Class Will Lindsay, Operation Freedom Sentinel, March 22nd, 2019, 33, of Cortez, Colorado, assigned to the 10th Special Forces Group, Green Beret.
Captain, do you have first responders?
Yes, sir, I do. The following is a list of first responder casualties from March 27th through April the 6th. Captain Daniel Laird, 41 years old, United States Forest Service, Tahoe National Forest. End of watch, March 27th, 2019. Trooper Brooke Jones Story, 34 years old, Illinois State Police, Illinois. End of watch, March 28th, 2019. Trooper Gerald Ellis, 36 years old, Illinois State Police, Illinois. End of watch, March 30th, 2019. Detective Benjamin Campbell, 31 years old, Maine State Police, Maine. End of watch, April 4th, 2019. And Sergeant Stephen Lycan, 53 years old, California Highway Patrol, California. End of watch, April 6th, 2019.
Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. I'll make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Berry.
Aye.
Mr. Morris.
Aye.
Mr. Culp.
Aye.
We'll move right into new business and department head reports. We'll begin with our administrator, Mr. Hess.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing on the administrative end, and I will turn it over to Captain Stegelmeyer for a motion for a liquor permit.
Good evening again, Board. What we have is recently received an application for a new liquor permit, a D5 that has been filed by Southwit LLC, doing business as Our Taco. All the information should be in the packet that's been provided for you. We've completed a check on all the individuals involved with this application and found no reason to contest this permit. Therefore, I'm recommending that the Board of Trustees pass a motion approving the new liquor permit and do not request a hearing with the Ohio Department of Liquor Control in this matter. And if the Board has any questions, I'll be glad to entertain them at this time. No? Thank you.
Mr. Mayberry.
Thank you and good evening. I don't have any formal items, but I've been asked to give an update on Cranes Run Road resurfacing project. This is, as stated before, the project is under the control of Montgomery County engineers through their bidding process, so we're just getting feedback, information, and updates from the county. We're told as of right now, the resurfacing will begin under the contract next week, not in Miami Township, but begin as part of the county contract next week for Miami Township and specifically Cranes Run. Tentatively, the pavement planing will begin the very last week of April, and then by contract, they'll assess the Cranes Run for the deep base repairs. Those repairs will be made within 7 days of the planing, and then put on the surface course asphalt, which should again happen within 7-day period of that deep base patch work. Township crews currently are going to replace 7 drainage tiles across the roadway up throughout Cranes Run Road, so we'll be working on that in the next week to get that part of the project wrapped up, and then wait on the county to get down here as part of their program. Any questions about that update or other public works items? Nope, thank you.
Mr. Snyder?
Good evening, Board. I don't have any formal items at this time, but I do have need later in the meeting for a public hearing. We do have just a quick update on the Lyons Road pedestrian improvement project. The contractors are well underway again. They will be completing quite a bit of work over the next month. They'll probably be paving the actual path in May and are still aiming for completion in early June of that project. So certainly appreciate the public's patience with some of the traffic delays and issues out there at the moment, but should see a lot of improvement over the next month and a half, and certainly a vast improvement for the pedestrians once that project is completed. So with that, if you have any questions, be happy to take those at this time. But
Mr. Snyder, in your report, I think you gave us an update on Miami Crossing marketing that some new banners would be installed along Kings Ridge Drive. Are those being funded by the Dayton Mall or by the JED?
those are being funded by the JED. The JED had taken over a number of years ago. Originally, the township had installed banners a number of years ago. Those were eventually taken over for management by the JED and have been funded by them.
Thank you.
Mr. Hinkleman is ill this evening, so Mr. McCord.
Good evening, Board. Excuse me. I do not have anything formal for your consideration, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Sir, turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Hess. We will now move into public comments. Anyone wish to make a public comment? You can come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. And if anyone wants to make one, you get a minute.
It's 30 seconds too long.
30 seconds too long. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion of the meeting. I'll make a motion that we approve the liquor permit for Our Taco.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for the First Amendment to the 2017 amended and restated Miami Crossing Joint Economic Development District contract.
I'll second.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
The following be the public hearing is now open. The following be the order in which this hearing will proceed. Staff will give a report. Public will be provided an opportunity to provide comments and recommendations. A time limit of 5 minutes will be placed on each of the speakers. Please give your name and address for the record, and the board will close the public hearing prior to taking action. Mr. Snyder, have the legal requirements for this hearing been met by providing 30 days' notice in a newspaper of a general circulation in the township?
Yes, they have.
Mr. McCord has a copy of the amendment, a description of the area to be added to the district, and a map in sufficient detail to donate the specific boundaries of the area and any applicable zoning restrictions been on file in the office of the fiscal officer for at least 30 days prior to this public hearing.
Yes, it has.
Mr. Snyder, would you please provide your report at this time?
Okay. Thank you. Good evening. You do have in front of you an amendment to the 2017 Miami Crossing JED contract. This proposed amendment would add territory to the Miami Crossing JED, as you can see on your monitors and in your packet. This is parcel K45-02402-0005. This is a tract of land on the west end of Vienna Parkway, between Vienna Parkway and State Route 741. This is the planned business district tract of land that was acquired in 2018 by the Miami Township Community Improvement Corporation. The Miami Township Community Improvement Corporation has petitioned to have this property included in the Miami Crossing JED district. They are a sole owner of the property, and therefore we do have a majority of the property owners petitioning to be included in the JED. As we've noted, this public hearing has been advertised for 30 days in the Dayton Daily News. The City of Miamisburg is also a contracting party to this JED and will also be holding a public hearing next week on the proposed amendment to the contract. This is, again, a relatively straightforward amendment to the contract, simply adding this one tract of land. But as a contracting party, the Miami Township Board of Trustees does have authority to approve or deny this proposed modification to the contract. So with that, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to go over those, but this time, that is the report that we have.
Yeah, is this the tract where we're considering including the car dealership in the?
This
yeah.
would not include the existing car dealership, the Volkswagen dealership. That is the
It's
notch.
adjacent to it, or?
It's adjacent to it, yes. So that is the notch that you see, the rectangle to the southwest there
Okay.
of the tract.
The board will now hear from any members of the public that wish to provide comments or recommendations regarding the proposed addition of real property to Miami Crossing Jet. Seeing no one coming forward, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on the First Amendment to the 2017 amended and restated Miami Crossing Joint Economic Development District.
I'll second.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
I'll make a motion, we approve Resolution 015-2019, a resolution to approve a First Amendment of the 2017 amended and restated Miami Crossing Joint Economic Development District contract by and between Miami Township and the City of Miamisburg to add property to the Miami Crossing Joint Economic Development District. Therefore, be it resolved by the Miami Township Board of Trustees, Sections 1 through 6.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the resolution?
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
We'll now move into elected officials' comments. Mr. Newell.
I have nothing.
Mr. Culp.
I have none.
Mr. Morris.
None today.
And I have nothing. We have no work session, but I will make a motion to adjourn into executive session to consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance or negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance in accordance with ORC 121.22G8. And there'll be another executive, do we need to make a separate motion for that later? Or do we do them all at once? Do them all at once. Okay. And to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual, unless the public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual requests a public hearing in accordance with ORC 121.22G1 at 6:13 PM.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
All right, we're now back in regular session. I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Schneider.
Good evening again, Board. We have received a proposed letter of intent that you have before you tonight. This is a proposed letter of intent from Dillon LLC to the Miami Township Board of Trustees and the Miami Township Community Improvement Corporation. This proposed letter of intent would propose putting a marketing analysis and development analysis together in anticipation of putting a future potential purchase agreement together to acquire from the Community Improvement Corporation approximately 41 acres of land currently owned by Miami Township at the southwest quadrant of the Austin Interchange. As part of the letter of intent, there are a number of documents and analysis that would be provided, along with the market analysis, purchase price proposal, a proposed public finance proposal, and a final request for potential economic development assistance, along with a number of other documents, including a proposed development plan. This proposed letter of intent would provide Dillon LLC with a 120-day exclusive marketing period with two 30-day extensions to perform due diligence activities and put the marketing documents and analysis together. At the conclusion of that period or before then, the board would have the option, obviously, to evaluate whether or not they would like to further extend that into a purchase and sale agreement on the property. With that, you do have a resolution before you tonight, Resolution 16, 2019, that would authorize the acting township administrator to enter into this letter of intent. This letter of intent would also need to be essentially countersigned by the Community Improvement Corporation, as they would also ultimately be involved in this transaction. So
When would that occur?
the CIC,
Next CIC meeting?
we would arrange that immediately after this meeting, and potentially next week sometime, likely. We would be able to get that together.
Anyone have any other questions for Mr. Schneider? I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 016-2019, a resolution to authorize the acting township administrator to execute a letter of intent contemplating the conveyance of real estate to Miami Township Community Improvement Corporation for subsequent sale to Dillon LLC. Therefore, be it resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees, sections 1, 2, and 3.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the resolution?
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
Seeing no other business before the board, I make a motion we adjourn at 6:39.